I feel very guilty in a way. After being with you for the last 1 hour, listening to you and listening to Ashwin and Bharat and Feroz and Sudha, I feel guilty that I have not used my influence, whatever it is, to do enough in the direction which I really need to do. And today from this stage, I would like to say that I will dedicate, before I speak, because today, I speak anyway too much on TV. I always tell Feroz, I said, Feroz, I am always surprised that people still want me to speak. By Friday, even my family has had enough of me. But today I have been silenced. Today I have been silenced like never before in my life. Because they say that when you fall sick, you feel very, unsure of yourself. You somehow want to get better. And if you have a fracture and you lose one hand, you feel almost unable to do what you're doing. But when you suffer, I feel it also takes you to your spiritual core. And when you are sick, you want to be better, and you also become stronger in the process. You become resilient. You become tenacious. You have a never say die spirit grows within you somewhere. And today I find myself in a hall of people who have so much of that never say die spirit, which is why I began by saying that today, honestly, is the best day of this year and one of the most positive days of my entire life. And I want to thank you for it, because in the job that I do, I only spend time with negative people. Preeti, I mean it. Let me tell you, it's not a good job. But I want to ask you, what is disability? Should I tell you what my definition of disability is? Those who compromise in life are the really disabled people. Those in our country who are corrupt, who carry out the scams, who cheat people, who take your money and loot it, they are the disabled people. Not anyone in this hall. And those who can help others but don't help, but only help themselves. In my view, after my 19, 20 years in journalism, I can say that in my view, they are the really disabled people. And disability certainly is there in the mind. Those who divide this country on the basis of Hindu or Muslim, Parsi or Christian, those who use it for your votes, they are the disabled people, ladies and gentlemen. This is a hall full of extremely positive, able people. And I'm so fortunate, Feroz. I can't tell you the work that you are doing. You've opened my eyes today. And if I change my journalism in the next few years that I will be around, I will thank you for it, Feroz. So, ladies and gentlemen, people always told me, wherever I go, people say, isn't there any good news? Why do you only give the negative news? Especially the politicians, they tell me, kabhi kuch acha to bol do. And I say that Manmohan Singh met me once after the press conference where I took him on after one of the scams. And he told me, it's in the Prime Minister's house. And when the Prime Minister comes up to you and looks at you, you're waiting to see what the Prime Minister will say. So the Prime Minister comes up to me and he says, you should do some positive news. So I said, yes, Prime Minister. If there is some positive news, I'll do it. He didn't smile. But 2010 for me was the year of scams. So let me take you back to my personal journey. In 2010, between 2010 and 2011, we broke 6 of the biggest scams in our country. from the Commonwealth Games scam to Adarsh to 2G, Devas ISRO, Aircel Maxis. And at the end of it, I felt that I'm telling too much of the negative story of what the politicians are doing wrong. So we started a program called the Amazing Indians program, where we genuinely, we took time, and we didn't have any sponsorship or money, and people say that television channels only do things when they make money, which is, I wanted to defy that. So what we did was that we made a team of 15 to 20 people, and I've met somebody in this hall today who knows about this program. And we said that, we want to celebrate the really amazing Indians of our country. And the amazing Indians are not, most of these functions at the end of the year, Indian of the Year functions, you'll find one sports star, one cinema star, one political star, right? And it's a very standard program. And I told myself that these sports stars, these cinema stars, these political stars, anyway, they get awards all the time. They don't have the awards or the recognition has no meaning for them. So we spent time, and we had 15 to 20 people who went around the entire country to find out the truly amazing Indians. And we found some incredible stories. And before I speak further, I want to share with your permission, do I have your permission to play a small audio visual of 3 of the people who are these amazing Indians, and then I'll talk about them. What you're going to see in this video are 3 people. One lady, Arunima, who scaled Mount Everest. We've spoken about her earlier. Then there's another man called Ashish Goel, who from the age of 8, he was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa, which is a genetic condition where you keep losing your eyesight. And by the age of 21, he had completely lost his eyesight. The amazing thing about Ashish is that today he is one of the world's leading hedge fund operators. He works out of London. He's in the top 3 of a company in Europe, which is one of the largest financial analyst firms in the world. And he has done this after that. And the third story, which will be in this video, we'll talk about it, will be that of Deepa Malik, a former beauty queen. Some of you may know her, real woman of substance. And what she's gone on to do after a spinal tumor made walking impossible for her, changed her life, is truly incredible. So before I go on further, I'd like them to play the small video, please.
In a nation of billion and counting, these Indians stand apart through their actions.
विकलांगता हमेशा दिमाग से होता है। अगर मैंने ये सोच लिया होता कि अभी मैं विकलांग होगी तो शायद अपने घर के एक कमरे तक, एक बेड तक मैं सीमित रहती।
26-year-old Arunima Sinha created history by becoming the first female amputee in the world to scale Mount Everest.
टॉप पे पहुंचने के बाद सबसे पहले मैंने उन लोगों को धन्यवाद बोला था जिन लोगों ने मेरी आलोचना की थी, क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं से सबसे बड़े साथी मेरे वो थे कि अगर वो मेरी आलोचना नहीं करते, मैं वहां तक कभी पहुंचती ही नहीं।
Ashish Goel, the world's first blind trader. Never one to let his handicap get in the way, today Ashish is employed in JP Morgan London after pursuing an MBA from Wharton Business School in Philadelphia.
Professionally, I get asked, okay, so first blind student at Wharton, first trader ever who's blind. What's the next first you'll do? And I smile back and say, it's never about the first. It's all about living your life happily.
His eyesight was damaged, but he did not lose his vision in life, proving to the world that perseverance is the recipe to success.
Please don't go by the stereotype. They say widows wear white and paraplegics are room bound or wheelchair bound. I always feel wheelchair liberated. My whole life began after coming onto the wheelchair.
Deepa Malik, the first paraplegic woman to join the world of sports. 42-year-old Deepa personifies grit and courage.
2006 was the first time when I went and I participated in the national meet. I entered the pool. I did one stroke, I got a gold. I did another stroke, I got another gold. and I did the third stroke because overnight I had 3 national records and 3 gold medals. It was just a chance, an opportunity that had knocked at my door, and I mustered up the courage to walk through that door.
There are many such poignant tales to be told. We salute the indomitable spirit and courage of these truly inspiring Indians.
Ladies and gentlemen, this ceremony is held in Delhi every year, and I make the politicians listen to the really amazing Indians. Politicians in our country don't want to listen to anyone, including me. They need to listen. I'll tell you about Ashish. I called Ashish yesterday. Let me tell you about Ashish. I'll put his picture up, please. Now, Ashish was Chief Investment Officer at JP Morgan. I called him yesterday. He said, I've moved to another firm. I am now with Bluecrest Capital, which is the world's largest macro hedge fund. So he's a top-notch financial analyst in the world today. Maybe he'll be among the top 15 or 20. Ladies and gentlemen, Ashish was born with normal vision. But by the time he turned 8, he started losing his sight. And then he had a painful accident. He fell in a gutter while cycling at night. Just one of those accidents. And it was an indicator of his diminishing night vision when they took him to the doctor. They said that. He was then medically diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa, which is a genetic condition. By the time he was 22, he told me he had completely lost his eyesight. Now, what did he do after that? He focused his entire energies on academics. He stood second in his class at the Narsi Monji Institute of Management in Mumbai and went on to earn an MBA degree on merit, not on any quota, from the Wharton Business School in Philadelphia. He won the prestigious Joseph P. Wharton Award, which again is the toughest and the highest management award any MBA student in the world can hope to achieve, was won by him. His list of accolades now, of course, is many. I called him yesterday and I asked him a few questions. I said, Ashish, can I interview you? He said, okay. Now, people don't want to be interviewed by me after a few interviews I did this year, including the person who I interviewed. He said that for me, my most important thing was my support system, my parents and my sister. And then he said something which Preeti also said. He said, I got very strong guidance from my spiritual master. And he said, my spiritual master did not give me spiritual guidance. My spiritual master gave me practical guidance also on how to deal with life. And he said, I have written it down. And he said that I have been told, and I repeat to myself, I have lost one sense, but I have 4 others to make up for one. And that is the way I look at life. So he says, I said, Ashish, tell me, how did you achieve this? How did you go on to do this? He said that I don't think about the problem, I think of how to solve it. So I have a philosophy of continuous positive reinforcement. And it is a very big thing for someone who's lived his entire childhood with a diminishing visual ability. And I just was so inspired by his story that I wanted to share it with you today. This second story is that of Deepa Malik, who's an Arjuna Award winner now. Now this fantastic lady, can we have a picture on there, please? She's a former beauty queen. She's a woman of substance with multiple hats. She's an army kid, an army officer's wife, and the mother of 2 girls. Now, a spinal tumor made walking impossible for Deepa 1 decade ago. The 3 repeated surgeries, 183 stitches, she told me, between the shoulder blades made things even worse as a result. She has such an indomitable will. She completed her journey to the world's highest motorable road in Khardungla. She appeared thrice in the Limca World of Records. She did all of this with the support of her 2 wheels. She's a successful paraplegic sportswoman. She's now got 39 golds, 4 silvers, 2 bronze medals at the national and state levels in sports, and motor driving, biking, swimming, and shot put. I asked her yesterday, I said, Deepa, what was it that was really pushing you? And I think she gave me a completely different explanation to what Ashish gave me. Ashish wanted to achieve. Ashish said that since the time I lost my eyesight, I wanted to prove that I can excel in academics and do everything better in terms of my career. I said, Deepa, what was pushing you? She told me something completely different. She said that what pushed me was the responses I got from society. She said the responses were so negative. So negative. She said that when people were joking, they would see me and stop smiling. She says to me, Arnab, I may have lost use of my legs. Have I lost my sense of humor? And then she says that, when women are discussing saris, and they see me and they keep the saris away. She says to me, I've lost use of my legs. Have I lost my sense of fashion? And she says when people were going on picnics, they would not talk about it in front of me. And she said to me, Arnab, I've lost sense of my use of my legs. Have I lost my sense of fun? So her motivation was completely different. So she says, Arnab, I wanted to prove society wrong. So what I did was, everything I did was everything I never did before that. I was never an outdoors person. I decided now I will do outdoors, I will do adventure. I will do the most shocking thing for the people who would think that for an army officer's wife who's done nothing before this, that all of this is absolutely impossible. And she told me, she said, I felt really discarded by society. And I think that is our fundamental fault. She said, I felt totally discarded as a patient. And why should we only talk about the positive things? In my own line of work, I always have one philosophy. You want to change society, first accept what is wrong about society. Don't bury it under the carpet. We are not an accepting society. We are not an inclusive society, Feroz. You are trying to make it one. So kudos to you. But we are not inclusive. Let's accept that. And Deepa says to me, she says that I don't need their sympathy. And everywhere I was going, I was only getting sympathy from everyone. So her philosophy now is, she has a philosophy, she says, and I share it with Preeti, she says, wheelchair liberated, not wheelchair bound, is her slogan. And I'll quote what she said. She said to me that, as she said, what happened to me can happen to anyone. But we Indians don't want to accept the present. And there is a terrible need, and I'm quoting her, to break the stereotype of a suffering, typical patient, a feeling, she says. And she said to me, Arnab, you must say this when you go tomorrow. She said, you must say this, that people on wheelchairs have a cumbersome and sad life. As if you are not equipped. That wheelchair, she says to me, becomes the symbol of your dependability on the society. And then you are dependent on the society, and the same society discards you. So you're doubly hurt. That society, through its responses, makes you dependent on it, makes you feel small, and then it rejects you. And suddenly, I realized here, so she says, Arnab, all I was craving for a new identity, not just the identity of a wheelchair. So I wanted to do something drastic, and this woman is incredible. And I see the same spirit in you, Preeti, today. Do something drastic. And I'm telling you, I have one thing common with you and Ashwin. Can I say one thing? I believe in shock treatment. I do it on TV. You may see it to the politicians. Because in this society, people tell me always, and I'll share this with you, I'm taking a lot of belief today away from this forum. People tell me, why do you shout so much? I see, even you're laughing. Can't you say things in a normal way? See, when I came here today, Feroz, I said, today I'll be normal. But I realized I was abnormal in the beginning, now I've become normal. I have a philosophy which I have learned because I have seen the political and powerful classes in this country. I have seen those who wield immense power. Through one signature, they can touch 1 million lives. They will not do it till you force them to. So this country needs shock treatment. That is the only thing which works. Because Because you have to shout to be heard in this country. And I say today from this Inclusive India Summit, I will be your voice. And I promise you, I will shout on your behalf. Because inertia needs a jolt. Inertia needs a jolt. So I will speak on your behalf. And today from this forum, and you know, I'll stop now because anyway, Feroz, you know, I can go on for non-stop. But I believe that what you need is power. You don't need pity. What you need is, you have a stake in this system. And I'm so touched, I said, look at these parents and look at the families and what they have done for those who are going through such difficulty. Just because you are not a vote bank, divisible by caste, usable by religion, right? You can't be broken into fractions because of your creed or your subcaste, so politicians won't look at you. I will make it a crusade now, every single day. And I'm starting this by inviting some of your speakers to my summit because, I'm so moved by Ashwin today. And I met Ashwin's mother and Preeti. I said, come and speak there and let the cabinet of India and the politicians of India listen to you. And I will speak on your behalf. So, with a deep and abiding thanks to you, and as I said, I don't want to speak more, I want to listen more. I feel very proud that you've chosen me here today to come and speak before you. I've learned a lot, I've carried things away from me. You are the amazing Indians, and I will speak on your behalf. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You know, I've always believed for every tangible we lose, there are a million intangibles we gain. But society doesn't value them. But when we have great people like Arnabji going to be our voice, I think it's going to be heard really soon.